Hey friends, welcome to my channel. Let's get crafting. This project's inspiration came from Home Depot, where I saw this really cute basket that was black and white stripe, and I knew that we could make it so much more affordable than what they were asking for the $40. So I picked up one of these floor mats or outdoor mats, rugs from the Dollar Tree, and then some rope. And I'm going to take a plate, and you can definitely make this bigger. You can see that you can use 2 mats to make an even bigger basket. I'm using a smaller one just to show you how to make it. So you're going to take a plate the size that you want, cut out a circle, and then put the plate to the side, and then you're going to decide how much you're going to need to be able to wrap around that circle base. Then you're going to go ahead and cut out with your scissors along that gridded line, and you're going to see that the mats from the Dollar Tree have these lines that are very easy to follow along. Cut out the length and the height that you would like, and then you're going to take your circle and you're going to glue it right onto that longer piece. And you're going to continue to add a nice amount of hot glue, making sure it's getting on both sides of the circle and casing it around that circle bottom. Now this part is so easy. It really just takes a little bit of time making sure that everything is drying. So be patient as you're holding it, making sure that everything is gluing properly so you don't have any weird bumps or any issues with it buckling on you later on down the road. The better you glue it, the better the basket will hold up. So here I am, I'm at the very end, and I'm just wrapping around that last little bit at the bottom, and you can see that I'm really holding things in place as I'm allowing it to dry. If you could hear the audio, you would hear me like blowing on it, trying to get it to dry quicker. So just make sure you take your time to allow it to really bond and dry well. Then up at the top, I went ahead and glued the sides together, and then I used some of these clamps from the Dollar Tree to be able to lock it into place and allow it to really dry nice and sturdy at the top. Now I decided to switch to a different rope because originally I thought, oh, it would be kind of cool to do brown, and then I really wanted to stick with that black and white look. So I pulled out some of my white nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. And the best part about this project is that the rope perfectly fits between the grooves on the mat. So I'm just allowing the rope to fall in between that divot down on the mat. And then you're gonna see the black being perfectly spaced in between the white rope. So you can see the black and white stripe really well on this basket. Now you're going to just continue to go around and around, and on the back side you're going to have to bump up to the next layer. So on the back side of the mat you're going to see that there's a little bit of a wave to get up to the next layer as you keep wrapping. On the very bottom I went ahead and wrapped around to add some more sturdiness to the basket, and then I added on some handles, and I'm taking a couple of thin strips of the mat to conceal the seam of the inside of the handle to really clean up the look of it and to make it look more high end. And I'm going to just use a lot of hot glue on that to really bind it in there so that the handles are strong. And then I'm going to use my little clamps again from the Dollar Tree and clamp it down into place to allow it to really have a chance to dry and be strong and sturdy. And I did that on both sides of the handles, and after you're all done you can put whatever you want in this because it's actually waterproof on the inside with it being an outdoor mat. I personally think we saved so much money because instead of paying $40, I paid about $4 in my supplies. My inspiration for this next look for less came from Antique Farmhouse. I loved these beautiful wall geometric art pieces, but I did not want to pay the price. So I found some of these mirrored frames at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to be actually only using 3 of them, but I'm showing that I was able to find 4. And you're going to go ahead and remove the packaging and then remove the screws from the back side. There are, I think, 8 screws on this, and I just used a little tiny eyeglass kit screw remover to be able to take all those screws out. Then I took it outside and I spray painted it white, and you can see that we're going to be using some of these jumbo tongue depressor sticks that I pick up from the Dollar Tree. I need 8 of them, as well as some shish kebab sticks. Now I'm going to be cutting them down to size because we want to make a little bit of a stronger base for our larger tongue depressor sticks to be able to bond to. So we're adding these shish kebab sticks in here to be able to really give a bigger base for our wood to go around it. You can see that I cut it down to size and I'm gluing it to the part where the screws used to go into. Once those were all in place, I went ahead and cut off the rounded tips of the larger tongue depressor sticks, and now I'm just going to bring the corners together. I'm going to do 2 like that, and then I'm going to have 2 be a little bit longer because you want to be able to make sure that everything is nice and strong and secure, especially if you're going to be displaying it in your home. I really do try to find ways to make things look really high end without them looking like we made things from the Dollar Tree. Then you can see that I'm starting to put them on the corners, and with a lot of hot glue, I'm making sure that things are gluing really well. But before I glue this longer piece down where I hadn't cut down the sides, I wanted to make sure I got the sizing right. Now I'm going to add on all of the glue. I'm going to come into those corners and then onto those shish kebab sticks that we had earlier, and you can see here that it's really giving it a bigger surface to be able to bond to the frame. Then just make sure you push down really hard, wipe off any of that extra glue that might be pushing out from it, and then once it's all dry, you're going to flip it over, and then I'm using brown paint, a little bit of black paint, and some water to create a stain, and I'm just going to go along the edge. And you could technically use painter sticks that are longer so you don't have all these seams, but I promise you the finished look looks so farmhouse, so cute. It looks very rustic in my personal opinion, so I just went with these tongue depressor sticks because I knew I could get the look and look really beautiful at the same time. So I'm coming in with my faux stain, and I'm just going to go over all of those sticks, making sure I'm not getting any on the white frame itself. And then I'm also going to do the back side just so when people turn it over, it looks finished on the back side. I always like to make sure both sides look good. And then once that was all dry, I came back in with some white paint and dry brushed on some white paint. And this is the part where I said it's going to look so farmhouse that you won't even notice those sticks, and we're saving tons of money doing it this way. And now I'm going to come in with some brown, and I'm going to dry brush on the white spray paint. And can you believe it? Look at this savings. I ended up spending about $2 on each frame. I wouldn't even say that. I would say I probably spent about $1.25 on each frame. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Heidi Sonboul, and I'm so grateful you stopped by. I actually have 4 channels here on YouTube, and I'll link them all down below so you can check them out for the ones that you're interested in. But please do give this video a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you like what you see here on my channel. For this next look for less is another beautiful sign from the Antique Farmhouse store online. I love their store, but I just would not pay $16 for a 4x4 size artwork. So I created a printable for all of you. I will link that down below in my description box so you can get that really easy. And then all we're going to do is we're going to take one of these signs from the Dollar Tree. I had this on hand from last fall, and I just simply peeled off the original artwork, took off the little hang-up bracket that they had on it, and now I'm taking off the sticker. Once I had everything removed, I went ahead and took it outside. I spray painted a really pretty gray color. I actually decided to go with a gray versus doing the wood from the inspiration because I just felt like it matched my decor a little bit better. But you can paint it whatever color you want, or you can have a faux wood look as well. So here's the printable. I cut it down to size to fit inside of my 4x4 box. Then I put some hairspray on it first to make sure it really bonded the ink to the paper. And once it was dry, I went ahead and took my Mod Podge and I'm just really gluing it down nicely to it. Once that was in place, I went ahead and created a cute little bow because again, I'm just customizing it to make it look like my own. But this project cost me $1, and look at how much we saved versus the inspiration. For my next look for less inspiration, I'm going to be using this beautiful basket stand from Antique Farmhouse, and we're going to do it for a whole lot cheaper, about 10 bucks to be exact. I'm going to be using 4 of these baskets, gold baskets from the Dollar Tree, and then 4 of these mop poles, and then a whole bunch of zip ties. We use a lot of zip ties in this project. Now, one of my favorite things to get off these stickers really easy is just using this heat gun that I have. I'll link it down below if you're looking for a good heat gun. I love this one. I use it all the time. I'm going to heat up the sticker and then it peels off with no issues at all. Then I'm going to take 2 of those broom poles or mop poles, and I'm going to zip tie them up at the top of the basket. Now you're going to want to zip tie them as tight as you can and push down those little nubs when you've got it nice and tight. I would recommend, you can see me cutting them here, but I would recommend as I moved on with the project, I decided not to cut the ties off anymore so I could try to tighten things as I was getting things to the very end. So you can see here that moving forward, I'm not going to be cutting off those ends just so I can keep adjusting them if I can find more ways to tighten it. Then I'm going to turn it around once I had it on both sides of that basket at the middle point of the basket, and then I'm going to do it the very next basket at the very bottom so I can create the framing. I measured out how high I wanted it to be up and I marked so it was the perfect spot across the whole pole system, because you don't want to have one that's crooked or a little bit lower because then your basket would be crooked. So now I'm going to take my drill. This part is so easy, I promise, friends. You can have someone help you if you don't feel comfortable with the drill, and you're simply going to drill in 4 holes going all the way through the pole on the top side and on the inside so that you get all the way through so you can use your zip ties. And now what we're going to do is we are going to take our basket, and this part's a little wobbly because you still haven't tightened everything all the way, and as you add on more basket it starts getting stronger and stronger. So you can see here that I'm adding on my poles. Now a trick I learned is make sure you're coming on the side of the basket, not the inside of the basket. You can see that originally I was putting it on the longer part, and I decided, oh no, I need to put it on the actual ends of the basket so that the poles stay consistent in size all throughout so you can get more baskets on it. Then I went and drilled out more holes where I wanted my next baskets to be, and then I just kept zip tying on more baskets. Now at this point it's becoming stronger, but it's still not as strong as it could be. So I decided to add on another zip tie at the bottom part of the basket, and I'm going to zoom in just a second so you can see. But right here you can see that I'm coming down a little bit lower on that same joint where we put the first zip tie to hold the basket to the pole. I'm putting one down a little bit lower. But then I realized that the zip tie kept wanting to slide up, so I decided to take my pliers, and you can see if you bend it the wrong way it'll still slide right off. I took my pliers and I bent out that wire just a little bit to create a little catch grip for the zip tie to be able to hold on to the basket. And then at this point these baskets are on here so sturdy, and it really strengthened this whole basket tower organizer. Then at that point I cut off all of the zip ties and I took it outside and gave it a nice coat of white spray paint. Then I brought it back inside and I patched all of the holes and then painted over it. And then at this point you can distress your basket however you would like. I decided to go really light on my distressing just because I didn't think that it needed too much, just for the look I was going for with my house and kind of going off the inspiration. But you could paint these baskets whatever color you want. Could you just imagine what you can do? Now, at the very end, I decided not to put the sign up at the top because I'm going to be using this probably in my bathroom to organize a bunch of toiletries. But friends, can you even get over the savings? This cost me about $10 to $11 because of all the zip ties, but I saved so much money and it looks identical to what the inspiration was. Thanks so much for watching this video today. I hope you felt inspired by these look for less projects. Leave a comment down below to let me know which one you like, which one you think you will try, and don't forget to grab the free printable that's linked down below in my description box that's over on my website. I'm going to recommend a couple of videos right here that are similar to this video if you really enjoyed this one. And until the next episode, bye friends!